Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today we are making this really lovely sugar plum cleansing conditioner. So this is the third cleansing conditioner recipe I have shared on my blog and here on YouTube, and the thing that's different about this one is that it's lighter. I was looking to make something that had less oils and fatty ingredients in it and got more of its conditioning from sort of non-fatty conditioning ingredients. And so this is sort of what we've ended up with, and I love it. Our oil phase is really small. It's actually less than 10%. So we have our BTMS 50, that's our cationic or our conditioning emulsifier. We have, of course, some amazing, super almond scented plum oil and some cetearyl alcohol. And so the cetearyl alcohol helps thicken the conditioner so it's not really drooly. With such a small oil phase, it is definitely predisposed to be quite thin and runny. And so we include the cetearyl alcohol to give it some body, so when you have it in your palm, it's not just going like ooh on you. In addition to the BTMS 50, our conditioning emulsifier, I've included two other conditioning ingredients. So we have some cetrimonium chloride, which in addition to being conditioning is also a great detangling ingredient. Works really, really well for most people, but I've heard for a handful of people that it does the opposite of detangle their hair. So if you're finding that conditioners containing cetrimonium chloride make your hair quite tangly, that would be the first ingredient that I would look at maybe swapping out. And then we have some Polyquaternium 7, which is a gorgeous conditioning ingredient that gives my skin and my hair just the most amazing, rich, slip, sort of very substantial kind of feel. I adore it. I've also included a new to me hydrolyzed protein, which is hydrolyzed rice protein. Windy Point here in Calgary has just started carrying it, and of course I had to have some. And so studies have shown that hydrolyzed rice protein is amazing for adding volume to the hair. And I think I agree with the studies. I do feel like my hair has quite a lot more volume with this cleansing conditioner sort of as my cleanser. So I'll throw some more links to some information about that in the description box below, but it's a very cool ingredient. And speaking of the description box, please make sure you go down there and click the link to go see this post on my blog on humblebeeandme.com. Got the full written recipe, links to all the ingredients, information on substitutions, scaling, and shelf life. Substitutions. It's a really useful thing. So yeah, make sure you go down there and click through. But come on, let's get started. We're going to begin by combining the ingredients for our water phase and for our oil phase separately in two different heat-resistant glass measuring cups. So in this one, I already have 194.9 grams of distilled water. And to that, I'm going to add 10.4 grams of vegetable glycerin, 2.6 grams of panthenol or vitamin B5, 2.6 grams of Polyquaternium 7, and 5 grams of cetrimonium chloride. And remember, if you don't have any of the ingredients, please go down to the description box below the video and click through to the blog where I have an entire list of substitutions for you. For our oil phase, we'll need 5.2 grams of BTMS 50, 7.8 grams of plum oil, and 7.8 grams of cetearyl alcohol. Now, before we put everything in our water bath, I'm just going to weigh our water part here and write down how much it weighs, so that we can replace any water lost during the heat and hold process. So I'm writing that number down. And I did note that the spatula is included in the weight. So up next, we're going to put this in our water bath. So this is a wide flat bottom saute pan with about 1 inch or 3 centimeters of water in the bottom of it. And I'm going to go put this on the stovetop over medium heat for about half an hour to melt everything through. After everything has melted through, you can remove your pan from the heat and remove your measuring cups from the water bath, and we're done with that water bath. So now we need to top up our water phase. Pop that back on the scale and refer to the number you wrote down and top it up. And now we're going to pour our water phase into our oil phase. And it is time to start blending. So grab your immersion blender, pop it in there, and we're going to start with short bursts and work up to a full blend. All right, so that was about 2 minutes of blending, and you can see that it is starting to gain some really lovely viscosity. I'm going to leave this for about 10 minutes to cool and then come back and blend it some more. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. This is coming along quite nicely, very decadent. But yeah, let's give this another blend. Right, well that's absolutely gorgeous and it looks done, but I can actually still see steam coming out of here when I stir it. So definitely still needs to cool down a little bit more. So I think I'll give it about 15 minutes this time and then come back and check on it and see if we're ready for our cool down phase. Okay, so it's been another 15 minutes and this looks gorgeous, but definitely still pretty warm. Let's measure out our cool down ingredients now, and then we can kind of leave this to cool as necessary. We're done with our immersion blender, so I'm just going to put that aside. All right, so I've got our cool down ingredients gathered here, and I've got a smaller, more precise scale. So we're going to weigh everything into this little beaker using this more precise scale. So you're going to need 7.8 grams of hydrolyzed rice protein, 0.1 grams of vitamin E, 1.3 grams cardamom essential oil, 2.6 grams benzoin resinoid, 1.3 grams liquid germall plus, and 10.4 grams Cocamidopropyl betaine. All right, so that is our cool down phase, and we have that ready to incorporate when we need it. This is still really warm though, and it is a pretty big batch, so it's not surprising that it's holding on to its heat for a good while. I'm gonna leave this for another 20 minutes to let it cool. All right, well, it's been 20 minutes and this is finally cool. It's just like ever so slightly warm-ish. It's definitely not hot anymore. It's well below the 50 degree point. Actually, we need to be below 40 degrees for this for the rice protein, and then the 50 degrees Celsius is for the liquid germall plus. So it's definitely well below all those things, so we're good to go. So I'm putting a little bit of the cleansing conditioner into the little beaker with our cool down phase, and we're going to stir to combine here and then transfer it back into the parent batch. And so this helps us make sure that we're getting as much of the cool down phase as possible out of here while still allowing us to use that really precise scale to weigh everything out, as if we were weighing everything directly into this bad boy. The weight of this would absolutely torch that little scale. It tops out at 200 grams, and I'm betting this Pyrex container weighs more than 200 grams when it's empty. So transfer that back in. And we're now ready to package this up. So I have two little tottles from Voyageur here. These are each 4 ounces or about 120 milliliters. And I've got a jar just to help hold things upright. And I have a large empty syringe here. I trimmed the tip off a bit so it's a little bit wider. But I am going to use the syringe to fill these because the version I did for the blog, I used a funnel and it was kind of a pain in the patoot. So I'm just going to use a syringe instead. I thought we'd take a quick look at sort of how this lathers, which really isn't very much. Take a wee bit of that on my hand there, and grab a little bit of water here. And you can see we kind of get a really low, creamy lather. It's pretty gentle, which is kind of the whole point. All right, and there you go. You just made some beautiful sugar plum cleansing conditioner, and there's one for you and one for somebody else, or 2 for you maybe. I don't know. I sure love this stuff, and I'm finding it pretty hard to part with. But thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and do remember to go down to the description box below this video and click through to find this recipe on my blog, where you'll find lots more information on scaling, substitutions, shelf life, and links to places to buy all of the ingredients, plus a discount code for the Plum oil. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.